as the saying goes, it might not be all over till the fat lady sings, but I suspect she might be practicing her chords down the other end of the M8 today. Well, Rangers have made it clear this week they're reluctant to surrender their title after 9 years at the very top. I'll be extremely surprised if Hearts don't show the same sense of commitment here today. There's no Jim Hamilton, the top goal scorer. Colin Cameron has a pelvic injury. Stephen Adam is rested, but back in the side, Gary Locke, after missing 6 games. Steve Fulton has managed after a slight injury doubt, and Lee Maker will play in his 3rd game for Hearts. Well, as for Rangers, their defence has changed more often this season than Scottish weather, and I think there could be a slight depression hanging over their central defence, where the suspension of Amoruso produces yet another variation. Back into the central of defence comes Craig Moore, the Australian. Beside him, the Norwegian Stella Stensas, Stuart McCall and Alan McCoy on the bench today, and in goal, Antti Niemi, the Finnish international. Off into a game that many people consider might be a kind of dress rehearsal for the Cup final on May 16th. Or as other people say, one or other of the teams mustn't give the other a psychological edge in being beaten. But quite frankly, I think that's a lot of twaddle. I think the circumstances in the Scottish Cup final will be entirely different. There's Jim McCluskey. He's had a very good season. Let's hope he has a positive game today. Now, Fulton. That'll be a free kick. Thomas Vogel, Austrian international. Yorkland going in hard. I think he's performed very well for Rangers on the right side of defence since he was moved out there, but they brought him in. We expected Moore to play in the centre because I think actually Moore's a better player in the centre. That's the way they've formed up. Anyway, free kick. David Weir shaping up for this. And let him fly. Well, he had to go for it there. It was that kind of distance where you can get that little variation, a little bit of altitude, but too much that time. Now a little bit of space here. They cannot allow that man to get space. There's Stensas, Laudrup. Stensas on the outside. Bit more appetite about this run. No offside, and brilliantly saved. Wonderful reflexive action by the big fellow here. Good play, better play, more productive play that time by Laudrup. All very well. Warren Jury getting that with his head, but he needed support beside him. Laudrup just a little bit too far to the left. Now this could be promising. Look at Laudrup was steaming down the middle. Now that's surprising, the kind of form that Jonas Ten has been in recently. One thing you could say about him is he's been clipping his passes accurately. Not that time. Here he goes again though. That's better. Jury. Great chance for Jury. Has he overrun it? He did in fact, and again the Frenchman foiling him. I think he just went a stride too far that time. Locke. Fulton. Just a little bit too precise here, Hearts. And Rangers have got everybody behind the ball except Jury. Unlucky bounce there. Now can he cut it back and away by Alex Cleland? Well, it was very tight to the goal line. And there's a lot of good marking going on inside the box, but the goalkeeper, he might just have lunged away from his goal line for that. Way towards Stensas. Took up position very well. Now, Laudrup. Then a ball inside to 10. And away comes David Weir again. Back by McPherson, and Rousset. It's got all he could do. Well, good defensive play this time. Michael coming in on top of that. That's a better ball. Gattuso now, can Cleland let fly? He does, and it's wild. Well, I did say that for all that he makes very good ground from time to time, there is that little element missing in his game. That bit of poise that's so necessary in a situation like that. Swept out now McCann in the best position he's been in the game so far. Gattuso going back with them, claiming an arm had been used in a way by Stensas. Mako. Shows you how useful he is in being the fulcrum of that movement there, but again, typical of this game so far, some weak finishing. Well, I think by that body language by Jim Jeffries, he's not at all pleased. Cleller. Watch Jury coming in at the back. And that might be a corner kick. I think it is. Yes, I think what Rangers are lacking right through the middle is an Anna McCoy-Stone form. Now, Albert. And goes Goff. I must say he did very well to get in there behind Dave McPherson and David Weir, because Hearts are particularly strong in this department here. Slag ball down the right-hand side. Well, as I said, the last time they played here, it was an astonishing game where Hearts looked as if they would rip Rangers apart in the first 25 minutes. Then Rangers settled into a great second half with George Albert scoring one of the goals of the season. Not the same kind of game. I think there's a degree of tension about this game. Laudrup. You'll get the free kick for that. Well, Weir had to snap at him very quickly. There's more a blocking action than a tackle. Got it round the hip. Up goes Rousset. Oh, there's Jury! And it's just away! Well, now. This big man seems to have mental blocks when he sees the blue jersey. I don't think Gordon Jury could believe it, and the Hearts players, they almost funneled it at the end as well. Oh. Yes. Yellow card, and I would think a sore head for McCann for the rest of this game. Up he goes. It was very late. It was inaccurate. And as targets go, that was distinctly the outer ring. We come up for that. There's Gattuso now. Cavani Smith. Now Fulton. Flogo. Watch the way Cleland came across them there very cautiously. Well, the Austrian has actually played in 3 Austrian Cup finals. But dare I say, he'll find it a rather different cultural experience when he plays on the 16th of May. That just off the head of Davy McPherson. I'm not sure that it was a guided missile exactly. I think it was just a bit stick your head in a way and see what happens. Well, it didn't quite. Oh, not sure what Naismith meant, but here's Laudrup. Loud, 2 against 2. In fact, 3 against 2. He has Stensis on the outside. Inside it goes to Laudrup, but he can't score. Well, almost a case of too many cooks spoiling the broth here. Any of the 3 could have scored this here. And I think he made the weaker option, putting it in there to Stensas, who to cut it back to him in a tight position. And the consequence, no goal. It should have been no. Referee rightly waving play on. Here as Callaghan goes through. Good interception there. Yeah. Would like to face them in the dressing room at half-time. Right on the half-time whistle now. I think Rangers particularly disappointed he didn't take the chances they had. Moore. Gattuso. Pretty obvious pass that by Ter. Now Flugel. Nice control that. And good play by Gattuso. Simply does not give up. Jim McCluskey looking at his watch now. And there goes the half-time whistle. An angry face there, perhaps an even angrier management that the chances Rangers have spurned in this game. And there's Giroud, who's had a remarkable topsy-turvy afternoon. Superb saves, first from Jury after a pass by Laudrup. Great save there. And then when Jury went a little bit too far to his left, Rousset reading the angle perfectly, foiled him again. And then that incredible lapse when the ball suddenly dropped to the foot of Gordon Jury, who could hardly believe it. Had he done so quicker, Rangers would have been in front. They're not. The score at half-time, Hearts 0, Rangers 0. Well, as Rangers start the second half, I suppose it's an afternoon for the trannies as well. They've been glued to the ears of all the supporters, trying to find out what's happening in other places. And I'm quite sure that at this juncture, Rangers may be bitterly regretting the clear-cut, certainly the clearer-cut chances that they've had in the game as opposed to Hearts. Now, McCann taking up his position right in the middle. Fulton striding forward with great confidence there. Mako. Oh, beautifully taken by Alberts. Now he's on the run, he's got some space, and he's got Clell in the way on the far side, and he can't reach him. Just took that a little bit too casually. Now, I think what Hearts have got to watch is not getting into a rut. They haven't won in the last 4 league games, so they really have to get back that kind of sharpness they showed right up to the beginning of April. Logo kept his eye on the ball very well, but there's nobody coming in from the right-hand side. Alice Cleland. Now the finish, the last ball's got to be effective. Well, he finds Stensas. That's a good left-footed cross, and away goes Weir again. Laudrup. And just as well that Mako came in at the back, and that's offside. You know, if this man gets just level with the Rangers defence, I don't think he'll stop him. He has the pace to get away. Here's Laudrup. That's a better ball through. And Gattuso going in here, needs to go. Gattuso has scored for Rangers. He kept his head down 48 minutes. And the sheer perseverance of this player, that characteristic I talked about, paying off for them. I thought eventually he might just be missing out on this with the intervention of the defender, and perhaps took it just a little bit too wide. But Rousset unable to jam his hand down at the ball. This is what I mean about this man, stubbornness. And the French goalkeeper couldn't keep it out, so Rangers go into the lead. Now, there's a sight that might not please either the Rangers players or their supporters at the moment. Robbo, no less, who's been the scourge of Rangers through the years. So off goes Steve Callahan, and on comes John Robertson, scorer of 6 goals in the league this season. And a man who's, well, he's not in the twilight of his career. John will go on playing for some time now. And always capable of snatching something out of nothing. Now Fulton, who gets it to his left foot. Oh, it's off the bar! Wonderful shot there by Fulton. And this has roused Tynecastle this time. That's the sort of shot we saw at the other end of the previous game from the German. You see number 10 there, who might have admired that. Well, I did say he was in a determined mood. Here is the dramatic evidence. Goalkeeper nowhere near it. Moore goes off his plan. I think there was offside in any case. Well, this linesman didn't lend himself to the favour of the Hearts support in the first half. With a very delayed, and I think he's been hit by something coming from the crowd. That's a great pity. Now we have a plethora of stewards down there who should be at least able to identify. Well, he's got to report this, of course. Well, into the book it goes. Albert. Ball's on his right-hand side. Here's Laudrup. Trouble with Hearts at the moment, they can't get the ball off Rangers at any particular sequence of moves. Cleland back inside Gattuso. Wonderful combined triangular move there by Rangers. And perhaps if that had fallen into the striker like Marcanegri, that would have been a second. But what an appetite this Italian has for getting into the box at the right time. There he was again, just getting underneath it. It should have been up a little bit more, up above it. Ritchie. Great interception by Cleland. Can he keep the ball in play? I think he just does. 2 against 3 here. The final ball's got to be important. And it comes to Albert for the shot. That's it! Wonderful move by Rangers. Created from deep. Wonderful interception by Cleland. And a typical German finish. 66 minutes gone, and Rangers at this stage look as if they put themselves out of sight. Nice little touch there. It still wasn't easy for Albert, and I wonder if there was a slight touch there by Davy McPherson. I was talking about the final finish in the box by Alex Cleland and how important it was. Well, he got it absolutely right there. We've 15 minutes of the game remaining. Fulton. Now John Robertson. Neat little chip across to the far side, and Flogo just misjudging that. There's Cleland. McCann did very well to keep at that all the same, and he's gone down. There's a little flick there by Robertson. Great save there by Niemi. Well, he did that out of virtually nothing, but that's typical Robo. Watch it. Just a little glancing, almost as if he was saying good afternoon. Great effort by the wee fella. And that would have made it an entirely different game. There's McCann. It is the ankle. This they have to watch at this juncture in the season. He is a key man for Hearts for that cup final. There's a turnaround there, and it's Moore. Well, Moore's already been booked, and to say that is a taciturn expression is to... It's a very polite expression, I think, about Jim Jeffries at this stage. And Moore is away. The referee took his time about it, waited for the injury to recover, and I've just been praising him. I thought he's had one of his better games for Rangers, but for that last intervention there, off he goes, and Rangers reduce for the second week in succession to 10 men, and that's over by Davy McPherson, and we could now, if Hearts had any initiative, have a siege of that Rangers goal. In he went for it. Oh, I don't know, it seemed to come off the back of the skull. Ardra tried to touch that inside. Now Hearts have really got to go at this. No offside. There's flow goal, and in comes Bjorklund. Very difficult to get away from this man, but it's a straight run for a ball. He's very fast. So, under pressure again. And a goal at this stage would throw this game up into the open again. Oh, that's a good pair of hands there. That's an intelligent ball out as well. The way to go. 3 against 2 it is. Here's Gordon Jury going in and goal. Could he kill it off now? I think he might. Gattuso! 79 minutes and Gattuso scores his second of the game, and the 10 men answer back immediately. 3 goals. Gattuso coming in there. The judgment. Perfect there by Jury. Just the slightest hesitation, and then eventually slipping under the defender. And I did mention earlier on how well today he's been getting into the box. That's it, I think. Gary Locke looking for a little 1-2 there. Dave McPherson again. They're just pushing everybody back. Here's Robertson. Nats is gone. Well, there seemed to be a deflection. So, corner kick. Quickly taken. McCann driving in. And that's just over. Neatly judged by McCann. Just a few centimetres off now. Stansas giving the ball away rather too easily, though. 2 minutes of stoppage time played at the end of a disappointing afternoon for the Hearts. With John Robertson trying to wriggle his way forward. Always very elusive in the penalty area. But as I said right at the start, the cup final will be an entirely different set of circumstances. Different players for a start. And the final whistle has gone. Rangers with an accomplished victory. And there's the man, Rino Gattuso, the man with a couple of goals, who has kept himself utterly committed in this game. And not just that, showing the skill of getting forward into the box, producing 2 vital, crucial goals. And Rangers go off this pitch at least having thrown the gauntlet down to Celtic, whatever happens at Parkhead, and saying, we're not giving up yet. Hearts 0, Rangers 3.
Well, we were determined to put up a better show than we did do. We were very disappointed that we played against Aberdeen last week. I thought right from the start of the game we more or less dominated the match. Our midfield played extremely well in helping us do that. And I thought the end result was a good one for us.
Certainly a very good day for Gattuso.
A very good day for him. He had an Italian under-21 game during the week, but he didn't show any effects from that, and he works extremely hard. And the goals are obviously an added bonus for him.
Is this what it's all about, George? Being a footballer at this level, you want to be involved in a battle to the death, don't you?
Sure, I think other way you're on the wrong job. If you don't want to win the championship, even if with 1 point and 2 games to go behind Celtic now, I think you're on the wrong job if you don't want to go for the championship.
We worked very hard to get where we are, and if you can do that, as I say, we've done it consistently this year, and there's a lot to play for Hearts at the moment. And if you expect to just play out the end of the season and then hope to turn up in the cup final and it'll all turn out right, you're sadly mistaken. And what you've got to do is use the time between now and then to make sure that they're well aware of how hard they have to work. I'm not too worried about our side when we've got the ball and the ability side of it, but when we don't have the ball, we're not prepared to do that work and chasing runners and closing people down and picking up scraps like we were doing earlier. And if you don't do that, you're not going to win very many matches, and that'll be sorted out before the final.
It's actually great being involved in such an exciting climax to a season, isn't it?
Not really. We could have been doing without it. We could actually have been doing a few points in front. But in saying that, I think you know, about 6 or 8 weeks ago, we wouldn't have been quoted and even reaching this stage. So again, the disappointment of last week is still there, and you know, we would hope that Celtic do drop something and we can capitalise by winning next week against Kilmarnock. But as I said, we have been up and down this season, and we'll need to show just a little bit more consistency, even with only 2 games to go.